Have you ever wondered why some highly capable managers never seem to break into senior leadership while others keep rising, even if they are not the smarter person in the room? A big part of the answer comes down to one skill that becomes more valuable at every higher level of leadership: the ability to lead across functions. Because once you move beyond a certain point in your career, success is no longer just about leading people who think like you, work like you, and report into your department. It is about bringing together people with different priorities, different expertise, different pressures, and sometimes very different agendas, and still getting them aligned around one goal. If you cannot do that, your career can stall. If you can, you become much more valuable to the organization. Hi, I am Michael Akbar with Yes Career Coaching. In this video, I'm going to break down what cross-functional team leadership really is, why it matters so much in today's business world, and why so many teams struggle with it, and the specific leadership skills that can help you stand out as someone ready for greater responsibility. If your goal is to move up, increase your influence, and position yourself for bigger opportunities, this is a skill you want to understand. So let's start with the basics. A cross-functional team is a group of people from different departments or specialties who come together to achieve a common goal. That might sound simple, but it creates a very different leadership challenge from managing a more traditional team. In a traditional team, people often share similar training, similar language, and similar priorities. In a cross-functional team, that is not the case. You may have people from marketing, finance, operations, engineering, product, customer support, legal, or outside consulting partners all working on the same initiative. Each group brings a different lens. Each group defines success a little differently. Each group has its own pressures, and yet somehow all of them have to move together. That is exactly why cross-functional leadership matters so much. These teams can solve bigger problems, move faster, and generate stronger ideas than a single department working alone. They break down silos. They help organizations respond to complexity, and they are often where the most important work gets done. But they're also much harder to lead, and that is where many professionals get exposed. Because it is one thing to manage a team within your own lane, it is an entirely different thing to align people across multiple lanes when priorities start to collide. And in today's business environment, that challenge is only getting bigger. Organizations are more complex, teams are more distributed, work is more interconnected. AI and digital transformation are speeding up the pace of change, and companies can no longer afford a slow handoff model where one department finishes its part and then tosses it to the next group. Work now has to move across functions in real time. Information has to flow faster. Decisions have to happen faster. And that means companies need leaders who can create alignment across different groups, not just manage execution within one function. That is one reason this skill has become such a strong signal for executive potential. But here is the reality. Cross-functional leadership is hard for a reason. You're not just managing people. You're managing competing priorities. One group wants speed, another wants precision, another wants to reduce cost, another wants to reduce risk. None of those priorities are necessarily wrong, but they can create tension fast. That is why so many cross-functional efforts underperform. It's not always because people are unqualified or uncommitted. Often it is because no one has created real clarity along what matters, who owns what, how trade-offs will be made, and how decisions will move forward. If you have ever been in a meeting where everyone seemed aligned but nothing happened afterward, you have seen this dysfunction firsthand. The problem usually is not a lack of discussion. The problem is a lack of true alignment. That is why strong cross-functional leaders stand out so quickly. They do more than facilitate meetings. They create forward motion. So what does that actually require? First, it requires strategic decision making. When you lead across functions, you cannot just fight for your own department's interests. You have to weigh competing needs and make decisions that serve the organization as a whole. That means thinking beyond your silo. It means understanding trade-offs. It means seeing the bigger picture. And that is a major part of what senior leaders are expected to do. Second, it requires clear goal setting. Cross-functional teams often struggle because every function comes in with different assumptions, different incentives, and different ways of measuring success. Strong leaders create a shared North Star. They make sure everyone understands the real goal, what success looks like, and how decisions will be made when priorities conflict. Without that, teams can look aligned on surface while quietly moving in different directions. Third, it requires the ability to navigate dynamics. This is where leadership becomes especially visible. You need to influence people who may not report to you. You need to manage tensions without avoiding it. You need to help different groups understand each other. In many cases, you are acting as a translator between professional worlds. You may need to explain technical realities to non-technical stakeholders, or business urgency to teams focused on operational detail. You need enough empathy and enough authority to keep people engaged while still moving the work forward. That is not just collaboration, that is leadership. And that is where career impact becomes very real. Early in your career, you can often advance by being excellent in your own function. But at more senior levels, the question changes. Can you lead complexity? Can you influence across teams? Can you align stakeholders? Can you move important work forward when priorities conflict and the path is not perfectly clear? Those are the questions that often determine who gets tapped for bigger roles. That is why cross-functional leadership is such a critical differentiator. It shows that you are not just strong in your own lane, it shows that you can see across business and help whole system work better. And that is exactly what organizations need from senior leaders. So if you want to strengthen this skill, start paying attention to how you show up when other departments are involved. Do you mainly defend your own team's perspective, or do you think like a broader business leader? Do you create clarity, or do you assume everyone is aligned because they nodded in a meeting? Do you understand what matters to other functions, or do you mostly focus on your own priorities? Can you turn disagreement into progress, or does tension shut the team down? These are the kind of questions that help you grow into a more effective cross-functional leader. Because at the end of the day, this is not just about being a good collaborator, it is about becoming the kind of leader who can make complex organizations move. And when you can do that, people notice. So let's bring it back to the opening question. Why do some managers keep rising while others get stuck? One major reason is that the ones who rise learn how to lead across boundaries. They learn how to align people with different priorities and perspectives. They learn how to make good trade-offs. They learn how to create clarity in complexity. And they become the people who can move important work forward even when the environment is messy. That is one of the clearest signs of leadership readiness. If this video got you thinking, let me know in the comments what has been your biggest challenge when working across departments. And if you want more practical guidance on leadership growth, career advancement, and positioning yourself for bigger opportunities, subscribe to Yes Career Coaching channel. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.